So I have these 4 guys right here that have a lot of history. They're considered heirlooms. These are heirloom varieties that have been around for so many years. Imagine today is 2026, the year 2026, and we're looking at something that's been around or known to be around since the 1860s, 1870s. My God, the Civil War, right? Think about that. Today I was happy to receive my box. I ordered this about 5 days ago directly from a contact I have down in Hawaii, and I was able to get 2 types. One is called the white hilo pineapple, and the other one, it's really got a lot of history to it. It's called the land race pineapple. So that pineapple, the history is that it was a Florida pineapple that was very popular down here in the 1870s to 1890s. When Florida was actually considered the pineapple capital of the world, believe it or not. And I got a total of, I ordered a total of 24, so I got 12 of the landrace and I got 12 of the white hilo. And I'll show you later the ones I've already potted up. I left these here to pot up a little later on because I didn't have time. There's only a few left. I think there's only like 8 of them left to do. So this is, they're awfully small looking, and at first you're wondering how the heck is that gonna grow into a pineapple? Well, what you do is, let's see which one this is. This is the, this is a Florida landrace, and they vary in size. Okay, that one you can see is kind of tiny. These are called slips, and these are ready to be planted. Take off about just a little bit like that. Like I said earlier, you can soak this in water just for a little while, maybe like overnight. And then you'll take these and you'll plant them. All you gotta do is put them in a pot. That's it, leave them alone, make sure they don't fall over. And they'll root out in about a month. They'll be nicely rooted. So here's the deal, right? I'm gonna have these available as potted plants. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a few minutes so you can see what they're gonna look like, in case you wanted to order some. And I'll put a link to a place where you can send me a message, and then I can put you on the list because the availability is very, very limited on these. All right, this is Pro Mix. This is available in a lot of garden centers, and you see what it looks like. It just says Pro Mix, and it's a premium all-purpose mix. It's very good quality. This is actually a 2 cubic foot compressed bag, and you end up getting 4 cubic feet after it spreads out. So in other words, after you spread this all out, you've gotten 4 cubic feet. It's about 40 bucks a bag. It's not a bad deal actually, and it's top quality. This stuff is incredibly good for starting anything. Seeds, fruit trees, you name it, it does a great job. All right, so here we are. We've got the Florida landrace pineapples. There's only 4 left in the bag, and I got another bag that has the white hilo. So I peeled off about 3 sets of these leaves and got down to about the white area here. And then we make sure, because we don't want to screw up and give somebody the wrong plant. So these are the ones that are in the bag that came from Hawaii, from a friend at USDA, actually from a contact who has a friend at USDA, and these are the Florida landrace, okay? And then they were all bagged and labeled. We prepared the pineapple slip, which only takes about 1.5 years to produce fruit. And we've got our pots, and we've labeled our pots LR, and we've gotten our Pro Mix, which is pretty wet. And we start out wet because we want it at the bottom of the pot, or else if you do go dry, what happens is it's just gonna end up falling all over. And then we can go to the corner over here where it's a little drier, and we can start using some soil that's not quite as wet. You push down, make sure we've got it in there. Moist soil, not soaking wet, but it was wet enough at the bottom so that it would not fall out the bottom, right? And again, landrace, and then this is all you gotta do, folks, is wait, I'm guessing 30 days. Put your finger in there, don't go too deep, just cover it up to about just where the white part is, and you're done. And put that in a shady spot, and 30 days from now, this guy will be rooted and on its way to producing an amazing, delicious pineapple. All right, so you're looking at the white hilo. These are the white hilos. We got the date on them. This was they're planted 7/7/26, so just a day ago. And you can see there's no big deal. They're just potted in these tree pots. I like to use these small tree pots because, you know, they can get off to a good start and they don't really need to be in such a deep pot. You could use a much shallower pot, but I had these available and I like to use these from my fruit trees. But the idea here is that you could use a shorter pot if you want. You could use a smaller a circular pot, anything, because, you know, you just want them to root in and they're really going to take a little while, maybe, like I said, a month and a half. So after I put them in here, I added just a little drop of water. I don't want to say a little drop. I had a couple of, maybe an ounce or two of water in the center, and the soil was already moist. But that's it. That's all you got to do. You just pop it in. Don't go too deep. Just leave it just right there on the surface. And you might be wondering why I have these sticks here. Well, the sticks are to deter birds. Birds tend to like to come around and poke around in my pots. All right, so these are the landrace, and the landrace are in the same situation, same type of pots. The only difference is that I put them in a kind of a screened-in cage. This is actually a cage that's used for lizards, chameleons, and so on. And I like to use it to keep young plants in and protect them from, you know, critters that could come around and mess everything up. So those are the landrace. They're protected also by shade, so they're under shade cloth. You know, you have young starter plants like this. You want to keep them from that hot, direct sun because you will end up getting a lot of the leaves burnt pretty bad. So again, these were given a little bit of water. They're not being overwatered. They're just keeping the soil moist. Like I said, hopefully in a month, these will be ready to go. And these are the Florida landrace variety. I originally thought of selling them to people just to get the ball rolling, helping people out that were interested in them as slips. But I changed my mind because if I sell it as a slip and someone doesn't have success, you know, they're not going to be happy. So we want you to be happy, and when we sell them, they'll be rooted in these pots. So another thing that's really beneficial to growing pineapples, and it's not just limited to pineapples, you could do this on your fruit trees as well. But pineapples seem to really thrive when you treat them with a foliar spray. And this combination here, which is the fish kelp, this combination really makes them thrive and do really super well. So normally the instructions here say you use about 2 ounces per gallon. And what you do is you agitate that real well, and then you take your pump up sprayer and you make sure that in the evening, maybe an hour or so before sunset, you spray your pineapples everywhere, top, bottom, you know, under the leaves, over the leaves, a little bit inside the cup. And then if you do that every other week, the results are going to be phenomenal. But you do have to stay up with it, and couldn't hurt. Now, some people will also put some kind of a sort of time release fertilizer. They might use something in there like a 10-10-10, or even some people use an 18-6-8. So if you use something like an 18-6-8 and you have a small plant that's just starting out, it's going to be a good time, you know. In other words, it's going to take at least, 2 years before you get your first pineapple. So oftentimes people will get them started with some 18-6-8, which has a lot of nitrogen, and it gets them growing kind of quick, and that does help them somewhat. But you don't want to overdo it with nitrogen. So you do that in the beginning, and then while you're doing that, you can begin to later start spraying with the foliar treatment. And this one is fantastic. This one works really well. I just started using it, and I'm noticing a huge difference in the way my pineapples are looking. All right, this is I've had this one for over a year and a half, and I've really had no problems with it at all. This is a 2-gallon sprayer. This is a Solo. It's very good quality. But you can use like a Solo sprayer or any kind of good sprayer. You can even use a little tiny hand sprayer if you want to. But because I have a lot of plants, I like to use something like this. So yeah, this is awesome. It works really good in combination with spraying your fish kelp. All right, so I promised to tell you a little bit more about the landrace pineapple. And the reason they call it landrace is because primarily it was not anything that was genetically altered specifically by crossbreeding the flowers and so on. It was really just selecting the variety from generation to generation that was better than the previous. And what they did is they planted these out, and they had thousands upon thousands upon thousands of these pineapples. And the ones that were the best, the fastest yielding ones, were the ones that were selected, and they continued. And that was called, for some reason, back in the day, that process was called the land race, okay? They were racing to cover the land with the fastest growing pineapples. And that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. And it might not be 100% accurate, but it's closer than anything else you're gonna hear out there. That's for sure. So anyway, make a long story short, as I said earlier, this is an heirloom variety, okay? This is around during the Civil War, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And these landrace are gonna give you not only an amazing, tasty pineapple, but they're gonna produce from a slip in as little as a year and a half. So no more waiting 3 years for a crown or a slip or a sucker that could take 2 years. This is literally supposed to be a year and a half. Now, if you get these and it doesn't take a year and a half, it takes a little bit more or a little bit less, don't be mad at me, okay? I'm only going from what I've been told and what the story is out there. If you want to give this a shot, send me a message, and when they're ready for sale, we'll let you know, okay? I hope to have plenty of these over the next couple of years, and I want to share them with everybody, and I want Florida homeowners in particular to consider growing a bunch of these, because man, 3 years waiting for a crown or any other pineapple that takes over 2 years, if we had something, go back in time to the 1860s when Florida was the pineapple capital of the world, believe it or not, and we can get this guy growing, we will have pineapples lickety-split, and you can start enjoying those Florida landrace pineapples. Hit me up, send me a message if you're interested. Again, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you got a little bit of information that was worthwhile, and Florida landrace, baby, let's go.